Welcome in. It's InGame Live Prime Time. Hour number one of our 2-hour extravaganza on this wild, wonderful, wacky Wednesday. Yes. Scott Wetzel along with Dave Sharapan for the next 2 glorious hours, taking you right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, watching, analyzing, covering, and more importantly, betting on the world of sports. NCAA, 2 more play-in games to get to. We got a lot of NIT games. Actually got a CIT game tonight as well, a couple of them actually. We got Black Clouds. We got same-game parlays. We got a slew of guests to talk some college basketball. We'll throw out our Final Four. And a bunch of goofy props I found finally came out with the college basketball tournament starting technically. Well, technically it started yesterday, but most people acknowledge it's starting on Thursday. So we'll have some fun with that, Dave. What's going on, my friend? Rocking the LA Dodgers material. I kicked myself because I forgot to put the dopey Dodgers in last night. Can't believe it. I woke up this morning and I see Dodgers win. I'm like, fudge. I was going to bet them, every single game. Now one game in. Now behind the 8-ball.
Yeah, it's the Seoul Series. It's international. It's in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning in Vegas. I got up to watch it. I got up to see it. It was blacked out. It was blacked out in Vegas. I forgot it was blacked out. The Dodger game. Why
would a Dodger game 3,000, not 3,000, how many miles? 30,000 miles away be blacked out in Las Vegas?
Las Vegas is under 6 teams restricted blackout list. Every team in California, both the Bay Area teams, Giants, A's, both the LA and Angels, the Padres, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are all under blackout restrictions here. Makes no sense. I've been here 21 years now. When I first moved here, I called the commissioner's office. I said, 20% of the teams you can't see here. I want a 20% discount on the MLB package. And I couldn't get through to, it was at the time, Bud Selig's office. I tried to get I said, put Bud on the phone. I got to talk to him. I want a 20% discount. She wouldn't do it. I tried my best to get through, but that was the deal. But yeah, the Dodgers were down. I stayed up long enough to have them get down and bet them in game, and then passed out, woke up, saw they won. The game went under, no run in the first inning. Dodgers run line, 1 in the bank already, if you would have bet it. So the experiment is you're down 1 because you let it go. You missed it.
We're going to have to double down tonight. That's what I'm going to have to do.
I'm
going to
here
pretend
we go.
Double down tonight to make up what we didn't win yesterday. So, and I will say this. It's almost like the 2022 and 23 baseball season never ended. All right? I mean, Dodgers down early. I would never in a million years bet the Dodgers first 5. They must be the worst first 5 team in the history of baseball that actually ends up winning the game by 2 runs or more. I mean, it's the same thing. We saw this a gazillion times over the last 2 years, right? Tie game, maybe down 1, and the Dodgers not only win, but win by, in this case, 3 runs. It's amazing how they do this time after time after time, Dave.
It is. And, I mean, well, at least everything went right with the Black Cloud play of the night last night. I mean, after being down, and worrying about it, I had to put the hood up. And that was a pleasure. Before you were even home on the train, we saw the final score of that. That was one of the best Black Cloud plays you've had, this calendar year. I mean, 8-2 was just tremendous.
But I still had to sweat it out. Why do I have to sweat out an 8? I might be the only person in the history of gambling that sweats out an 8-2 win. Right? I mean, they were down 2-1.
Yeah, but
I know, but it was 2-1 in the second,
like
second period. I'm thinking they're going to lose.
No sweat. It was no sweat. It was good. I didn't even bring a hood today. No umbrella, no other hat.
Wow.
We're ready for whatever you got tonight.
All right, here we go. Let's, you know what? No sense waiting for tomorrow. Let's do it right now. A little Black Cloud for a Wednesday. All right, this one, normally we do this to close out the first hour, but this game starts in about 5 minutes or so. And you got to get in early because we're going to go NHL. There's only 3 games on the ice tonight. Actually, like 2 of them. We're going to use one for the Black Cloud. That's Dallas versus the Arizona Coyotes. The Dallas Stars, almost a 3-1. In fact, they probably are a 3-1 favorite to win.
Mm-hmm.
You can whack that by a good 100 points or so to win in regulation, which I think they will do. Minus 185. Well, Dallas, why not Dallas? They're a hot team. They're a good team, obviously one of the better teams in the NHL. Arizona, we all know, stinks, so that's logical. Digging deeper, how about this one, Dave? Dallas Stars, 17-1.
Ooh.
Their last 18 games against Arizona at home, including a win early this year. 17-1. I mean, now all I have to do is lay, I don't know what the odds that equates to odds-wise, but I know it's not only minus 185. So you give me a team that's won 17 out of 18, and I have to lay less than 2-1 to win in regulation, and most of those were in regulation, can't lose. Can't lose.
They played one time this season already, right?
And I know it went to overtime, yes.
It did go to overtime. We got to tell the people in full transparency.
Well,
the game went to overtime.
Have to tell them. They did
You ask why you have to sweat these things. This is why you have to sweat these things. I mean, they played once already, and that's a great trend. I don't know how many times that applies for the current teams. 17-1 and
right.
all. That's great. But we need to know what's going to happen today. All that matters is today. So, look, let's just get this thing. I'm good with like first period 2-0 Stars. Like by the time we get to Brad Howell later today, we get to Peralt. I call him Matt Peralta in 40 minutes. Hopefully we'll be up like 2-0 in the first period. Let's just get this. I don't want to sweat tonight. We got a lot of things to talk about. Hockey's on the docket only because we're hockey guys and it's all basketball. So this will be a fun sweat for us throughout the show.
Yeah. And you got to think they're taking this game seriously. Like they're only 2 behind. They're battling for the top spot there in the Western Conference.
Yes.
Or the Central Division, rather. So, I mean, you would think at home especially, right? They can't poo-poo this game. I mean, they got a chance to move into a tie with Winnipeg there with 93 points in Colorado, right? I mean,
13-5-2. I have their record against the Central Division. So way more wins than losses. They're not losing to the worst team. They're not losing this game. I don't want to.
That you sound like me. You sound like me. Oh my God!
But listen, we do the shows together enough. This is the one I looked at today in the hockey slate where I went dog, favorite, dog. That's the way I looked at it. And this game was the one in the middle. So favorite, let's get it.
All right, let's get it done. Yeah, I do think, listen, you can't lay 3-1, right, which is what the line is. But I do think as we get closer and closer towards the end of the season, some of these lines are going to get bigger and bigger, right? Well, Dave and I, we'll talk about this because Dave knows. They're going to get bigger and bigger, and the favorites are going to win, I think, a lot more of these games because it's so important now. Every point counts, and they're taking things a little bit more seriously. So, but college basketball, we got NBA, and we got hockey tonight. Should be a lot of fun.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the Purdue that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance.
That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
It is.
This is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to
Penn
find a
State's
way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But
Right.
if we make them a third,
They get in.
this
is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to be
rule.
better than the West half.
Yep.
That 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart teams.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live. Prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen and watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time, right here on the grid. Just getting underway. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time. I got to tell you, Dave, we talked a little hockey there. I'm having more success with the goofy NIT and CBI and CIT and NIT and all this other, mumbo jumbo than I am. I went 0 for 2 in the 2 playing games, and I went 4-0 in all the other goofiness, and I'm off to a pretty good start here in the NIT games. I'm sitting on a bunch of overs. I can't play an under except for Villanova. I'm basically going all over. I do have Grambling making a little bit of a comeback here. Would you do anything, college basketball wise with the playing games? We'll start there.
You didn't listen yesterday. We tried to tell you that Virginia-Colorado State game was an under.
What a disgrace.
I mean they went like almost an hour of real time without scoring. I was checking
14 points.
the score.
14 points in the first half.
Like I was checking the score on my app on my phone, and I thought it was stuck. I closed it, opened it back up because I'm like, how could the score not have changed in this long of a time? So, yeah, I mean, they didn't do anybody any favors putting Virginia in other than people that bet the under. So, I don't know. Tonight, we talked about it yesterday with the Wagner game. There's certain games like you look at and you go, I don't really have any real strong side or total either one. I felt that way about both games today, both playing games. I mean, we saw the Colorado game here in Vegas, Pac-12 championship. I'd lean Boise, but, I heard you, Ranieri, talking about the Mountain West and, Joe's against the Mountain West. And you said you were a Mountain West fan, which is good.
Yeah.
I don't know, we got to respect it. I think a common thing that happens a lot of times in a handicap, they'll go, the Mountain West got one. Well, they must be better than you think. I would caution that because Virginia was bad. Topeka High would have beaten Virginia last night. Like that was one of those when we saw Coach draw up all that offense and it was one play and he said they keep doing it over and over and over. You put up 42. What were you doing? I'm with you. The gold tonight is in the NIT. The gold, I think, is dogs in the NIT. There's a game there, App State, Wake Forest. A little bit extra, a little bit high. What do you think?
I think so, right? In-state rivals, or maybe not rivals, but in-state, App State, North Carolina. They're going to get all pumped up for the game. Wake's probably disappointed. They closed out the season on a sour note, like the last 3 weeks or so, the regular season. I do love the over. Both teams are monster over teams. I'm a little surprised, as I was telling Ranieri, that, I thought this would be in the 150s. I'm very surprised it's only 147. Wake, can score with the best of them. So can App State. So over 147.5 would be the play, and I'd probably put a little flyer in on App State there, plus the 7.5. Try and buy the hook, get it up to 8.
It's funny. Right now it's 14-7. 145.5, 146.5. It keeps bouncing right now, back and forth. So on pace.
Okay.
UNLV Princeton's an interesting game. The buzz here is that the point guard, young kid, is being talked to by a lot of big schools, and that they're not all in with this thing. They got to fly across the country and play the smart kids at Princeton. Thought this number would be a little bit higher, to be honest. Me and my buddies here, we were all at the UNLV game, the last home game, senior night, talking about the future prospects of them in the Mountain West, thinking they had to win the Mountain West to actually keep playing basketball. So they got an NIT bid. Wetzel, this is Princeton or nothing. I think. I don't know. What you got any look at this one?
Yeah. Here's why. And this probably goes into why these kids might not be all in on this, Dave. You basically bid. I don't know if you brought this up or someone else did, but I know it as well. These NIT games, you bid, even like old 1AA football games, you had to do the same thing. You put a bid in and you guarantee a certain amount of seats being sold. So, okay, you're going to guarantee 10,000 seats being sold, Princeton, and then what about you, UNLV? Well, we're only going to guarantee 5,000. Well, you know what? Then Princeton's got the home game. So I'm guessing because San Francisco, which I know is not close to UNLV, but it's a hell of a lot closer than New Jersey, right? I'm guessing San Francisco, which is flying to Cincinnati, and UNLV both said, you know what, we can't guarantee squat, so stick us wherever you're going to stick us. And one said, all right, one's going to Jersey, the other one's going to Ohio, and rather than play each other. So if your school tells the world, we don't want a home game, what do you think that does to the morale of San Fran and UNLV? So for that reason alone, I'd be betting against those teams. And I do like the over on the Princeton game. They're a strong over team. 21-5 over. The days of Pete Carrill, long gone. 21-5 last 26 home games are the Tigers.
We're so old. No one even knows who Pete Carrill is. Kids, who's Google it, look it up. That was when Princeton. Oh, that was so much fun when they actually did that. That was a fun. Yeah. I wanted a Princeton sweater. After that, there it is, right there. Good team trend. 16-5 last 21 games at home, and there's a good stat. That's why these trends are your friends until they're not. One of those two things is probably going to give, right? I guess you could get dog and over, but I don't think that's going to happen. This might be one of those ones that gets away from UNLV. We'll see. They're leading right now at the beginning of the game, 18-16. What about VCU and Villanova? Another game where it was Villanova should have been in the tournament. After watching, there's 3 or 4 teams that are playing in this thing that after watching Virginia play last night went, we told you, we could have been there. This is one of the biggest spreads of the entire NIT against VCU. Why is it so high?
Yeah, I don't get that. VCU should have been in the tournament as well, or at least, certainly seriously considered as they were. You want to give me 8.5 points again, buy the hook at 9? If you're Villanova, are the fans really going to show up for this game like it's a big deal? NIT? I don't think so. I really don't. These NIT games, they're assuming that the teams are going to give a great home field advantage, court advantage, but it's not really the case, believe it or not. There's just a malaise over the, fan base doesn't care about the NIT, just like, most people don't. So I would say grab the points. I do like the under in the game. Both are strong under teams. That is the one I said with Ranieri, 20-7 under Villanova last 27 games. And similar numbers with VCU on the road. VCU on a nice little 5-0-1 under run. So I would take the points and the under in a nice little parlay.
Yeah, leaning VCU as well. I like the under trend. It all depends. Again,
it's about the only
on
under
how
I'm
the
going to
game
play
starts.
in NIT.
That'll
be the only one.
Under?
That'll be the only under I'll play in the NIT games.
Okay.
Yeah.
In-game anything?
Only all that I think you're going to get overs in.
Jeez.
So.
I'm looking at the scores now. SMU beating Indiana State at the half. Indiana State is the darling. Wow. Down 9.
They were a big favorite tonight, too.
Big favorite.
We had some decent. We had 7.5. A lot of 6.5, 7.5. Those are big numbers.
That's a lot of times. That's that number. It's over. 2 threes, 3 possessions. We used to say before the threes became so prevalent. When you put that number over 6, floated around in between 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8. That's a big deal. That's a significant favorite. When they close that high, nobody's interested in the dog. That's all that means.
I wonder why. Just people bet favorites, just in general. They're not really doing any research.
Sometimes it's easier to take the home team. The visiting team had to travel. The visiting team isn't motivated. All air quotes.
Grambling by 1, making a comeback.
Woo! Got a game.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
This is
the guarantee Penn State to get in.
We need
Because
to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
Third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that lightning in a bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats and fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart teams.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live. Prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
welcome back to InGame Live, prime time right here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. We got hockey, we got NBA, we got obviously college basketball, we got guests galore, we got how about a little SGP same game parlay here on a Wednesday night. All righty. You know what I failed to mention? We have baseball as well, and that is where we're going to go with our same game parlay. How about that in honor of the baseball season starting technically this morning? And I'm actually one of the few that will defend Major League Baseball on that, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's use Dodgers and San Diego Padres as our same game parlay tonight. Got to go with the Dodgers, right? Lay a run and a half. They're going to win every single game this year by 2 runs or more. So let's go Dodgers plus 110. Minus, doesn't matter. They can be down 7 in the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 out, and somehow or another they're going to find a way to win by 2 runs. So Dodgers laying a run and a half. We're going to go with Yamamoto, the star pitcher, under 4.5 strikeouts. Why? I'm guessing he's going to be on a pitch count. First time out. Had the guy last night, same thing. You know, all these starting pitchers, you know, they're going to go about 65, 70 pitches. So I don't think he's going to get 5 strikeouts. He's not perceived as a great strikeout pitcher. So let's do a little hunch and go under. And I think the teams want to get all these relievers one game also. So I think they're a little bit more anxious to go to the bullpen. So under 4.5 strikeouts. Ohtani, if he plays tonight, I'm assuming he will with the latest thing that broke, before the show, which we can bring up here in a second. But assuming he plays, Ohtani to get a base hit, nice fat minus 280 now, which is crazy. And then Ohtani, though, to get an RBI plus 125. So it's funny, though, you had to play monster odds for a hit, but not that much. You're getting odds for an RBI. So add it all up, and it's about almost 7-1. I got 689 this afternoon. Depending on where and when you want to put it in. So 7-1. Dodgers win by 2. Yamamoto getting under 4.5 strikeouts. Ohtani getting a hit and an RBI. What do you think?
First of all, welcome to baseball season. That's great.
Yes.
I'm excited to see a same game parlay with some baseball in it. We'll have to see. I mean, he's going to play unless he's instructed by somebody to not play. You have no action if you put this in if Ohtani doesn't play. The RBI thing is interesting because he has to come up with runners in scoring position to make it comfortable where he doesn't have to hit a home run. That's why that one was the longest odds as far as the plus 125. So, it's not the black cloud. I'm not worried about the Dodgers winning by 1. If they win, they're probably going to win by the run and a half. Yamamoto's interesting. We saw it last night with Darvish. They pulled him right away, one time through the order. Right. It wasn't like he was in danger. It wasn't like he had thrown a lot of pitches. So I think you're right. They had been mentioning, I was reading some stuff today. It'll be a quick hook. They're not going to – he's the first one out of the gate. Weather's perfect, all that other stuff. But if he goes we're kind of betting on the strikeouts being under because he doesn't go – maybe 5 innings, 6 innings max. Right. So it's good. It's good. Let's go. Baseball, bro. I love it.
I was curious to see with Ohtani. They have him batting second. I wasn't sure where they were going to put him. So I didn't really look in the preseason. So they got him batting second behind Betts in front of Freeman, Smith, Muncy. As long as Mookie gets on, he should get on with I'm guessing also he's going to hit a home run, right? There's no way in the world he's not hitting 1 home run in one of these 3 games. And he didn't hit one last night. So
I mean, if he gets the pitches,
there's my RBI.
Yes. Yeah, the locals would love it if he did. So I could see that happening. That's the other good thing about betting the RBIs. The guy can get a home run and get one on himself. So opportunities abound. It's we're back, baby. Baseball is back. Yeah. This is going to be a fun season. We'll have a bunch of different baseball things here to talk about too, but we'll be talking about the Dodgers every day. I'm glad I got enough Dodgers stuff over the course of the last few years. I'll be covered that I don't have to wear the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, but now we're going to be talking about for better or worse with the Ohtani stuff, right? Let me ask you this. Just 2 guys talking, no one's watching, no one's listening, just you and I in the back room. if in fact it was Ohtani that was doing the betting,
Oh boy,
not the interpreter,
oh boy,
what do you think Major League Baseball would do? Would you believe it? I mean, the guy apparently writes a check for $4.5 million. That's a damn good friendship, right? That's a lot of bad gambling. Also, you check out my website, buddy. And please, opposite picks. Ohtani, come on, right? I mean,
we can help you out.
We can help you out,
Right.
yeah. S&W Corporation here, brother. I mean, geez.
Let's go. Yeah, watch the show. We can watch. We got a Bostonian versus the book too. I do cash considerations. Scott does opposite picks. You can do all this stuff. Like that, we can help you out. Listen, I'm hoping there's so much going on in the space. Everybody's partners, everybody's involved. It's all over the place. All right. I mean, we got jobs that exist because of it. I hope he ain't involved. I really, really hope they're going to go deep into this investigation, and there's going to be a lot of stones unturned. Yasiel Puig was in and out of baseball quick.
Yeah.
It's connected. There's stories that this is the same middleman in the middle between the Puig stuff and now this. The gambling can get crazy for anybody. We talk about it all the time. I try to tell people you got to be responsible. I mean, we're both dads. We got teenagers. We got things like you can get in over your head quick. And if you got ability to write a check because you got a friend that can be the best player in baseball, I don't know. It bums me out because I think we're going to see more and more of this. We're going to see more and more of this. People bet, and people that have money like to bet more and bigger limits, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be one of those situations between guys just talking that there's going to be a few layers of the onion to peel away here.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of too. Yeah. And for the smaller guy like myself, I say, man, you got all the money in the world. Even the interpreter, right? I mean, he's got to be loaded. I mean, Tony's not paying him like $50,000 a year, right? I mean, you got all the money in the world. Why do you have to gamble? I understand why the poor guy gambles. I understand why the guy, the sap like me, gambles when I got college bills coming in left and right and high school Catholic bills coming. That I get. But the guy who's rich, though, I wouldn't gamble if I was rich. I really wouldn't. I've given up the dream of becoming rich by gambling. That reality set in. So I still do it, but if I was rich there, I wouldn't gamble. What the hell, no? You're not getting my money. What are you kidding me? No, sir.
This is the difference. Like being in Vegas for as long as I have, I've seen very, very rich people gamble. They need some sort of Jones. Them betting 100,000 on a game is like us betting 10. That's what they. Right. That's their unit. That's what they do. I've seen people play blackjack for 10,000 a hand and play the whole 6-shoe table. They're playing 60,000 a pop, and you just look at it and you go, "Wow!" Like in 5 minutes, we could have bought a house. I mean, I used to pay people with, go buy a car. Here, we'd run the money. I'd give them a stack of 80,000 in 10 dime straps and say, go buy a nice car. You could go buy one with all the bells and whistles. Get the good seats. Get all the options. And they would just go come back tomorrow and bet it on something else. So I think, it doesn't matter your bankroll. If you like to do it, you like to do it. And I mean, we like to do it. We're here talking about it every day. We're looking for angles to help people win. And, there's no secret to all of it. I tell people that all the time. This is a grind. You just want to come out ahead. The juice is enough to overcome. Like you really over and over and over. Sometimes it's good to just kind of take a deep breath and not get too buried deep.
Yeah, and you can, boy. You certainly can. So, hopefully he's clear of all that, and it's just his interpreter. By the way, you've been in the United States for 7, 8, 9 years now. You really still need an interpreter, really? I mean, language shouldn't be that difficult to learn, right?
You got to get one of those Babbel. It's sometimes it's hard, It's tough.
I guess. Grambling tied with Montana State.
Ooh.
70 all. I'm getting 4.5. Bought the hook, actually. I'm getting 5. Didn't like them tonight. That was a little hunch, little goofy bet. So I'm into that. Bradley looking okay, 52-40. Yeah. 10 minutes left to go in the game, and over-under's right basically where it was. Seton Hall's got a 3-point lead.
Yeah, they just took the lead. Princeton's up 4 against UNLV. Did you look at the NBA today? I got to be honest. Yep. After yesterday, I really didn't look too much at it. Like, I was like, okay, there's games, and we'll be on later, and I know we got the graphics and stuff, but I didn't feel like super strong about anything. How are the Warriors laying a gigantic number tonight at home against Memphis? I mean, even a computer, our supercomputer, Smart Moves, picked the dog in that game. How do you lay those points with the Warriors?
Yeah. Some of these games are just unbettable, right? They're just like, man, I can't even flip a coin. If I flipped a coin, it would land on its side. It's like one of those things. That's where I generally look for the trend.
Have you ever done that? If you flipped a coin and land on its side?
No. No. Can't say I have. I flipped the coin to make a bet plenty of times.
Roll next.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the Purdue that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
This is
the guarantee Penn State to get in.
We need to find a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
Third,
this is the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
That 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the rim.
All I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart Team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live. PrimeTime.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
back in game live, prime time right here on the grid, 40 past the hour number one. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, having some fun. And speaking of having some fun, let us bring in our first guest. You hear him all the time, Bostonian and the Book with Dave, and then also on InGame Live. He hosts over the weekend, and then this show is as well on Friday nights. So our good buddy Matt Perrault. What's going on, Matt? How are you tonight, bud?
How are we, fellas? Everybody's going crazy. This Ohtani news is taking over everything. My brothers are texting me about it. This is big. This is when it gets down to the 20-year-olds, you know it's a big story.
Well, we were saying there aren't too many superstars in baseball, right? I mean, so you only really have a handful. And this is not the news that Major League Baseball wants, especially now, right? Think about that.
The season just started. The game is over there. They're together. They're together. The Dodgers fired him immediately upon the release of the story. He's over there with them. The wives are hanging out. You know how this goes. You guys both know how this goes when you go together with the wives and couples and all this stuff for hanging out. It's going to lead to a very awkward situation. Matthew, this is one of those ones where I'm like, what do we say? I mean, I told you during the break I'd write you the check if you ever got in trouble, but that's a hell of a friendship, P-Roll.
Scott, when you start telling me Matthew, it's real. This is a real story now. When I start getting my full name being dropped. Look, this is the problem for Major League Baseball because no one's going to believe that it was the interpreter who had access to $4.5 million to gamble. That's the problem. It doesn't make any sense just from the smell test. It doesn't work. Like, you're an interpreter. What's your max salary as an interpreter? $250,000 a year? $500,000 a year? I mean, what could it be that you would get yourself into a $4.5 million or more debt where you have to go ahead and pay off a bookie? It's bad. The whole thing is really bad.
All I know is nothing for nothing. I'm just stating the facts. This all happened once Ohtani got married. Just take it as that.
You're talking to the single guy. So,
and all of a sudden, the guy has issues.
You're talking to the right person. I would concur with that. Get the heck out of that situation. The world gets much better. Yes.
Hey, I mean, just state the facts.
That's fine. That's the facts. The facts are this. That's a big number. Let's spin it to the Celtics and the Bucks here. Okay, Mr. Celtics.
No Greek freak.
Wetzel's a Celtics fan as well. Gigantic number. We talked about it earlier. How could it be this high? They're up 67 to 54. 21 seconds left in the first half. They're covering the original number right now. This is like, what's going on? Can't touch this game, can you?
Well, I mean, Dave, you know what my day's been like today because this was a first half Celtics team total over bet that I make almost every single game. Didn't make it today, so you're crushing my heart telling me they scored 6-7 points. The last game, it was 59.5. They scored 59. So that was frustrating. I missed on the hook in the last game, and then I forgot to bet it today. So that's a bet that I make almost every game for the Celtics. The first half team total, they come out of the gates really hot. Look, what's the motivation for Boston in any one of these games? I mean, they have a 10-game lead on the 1 seed. It literally is hard to bet on them, even laying these big numbers, even if they win 6 games in a row, because I don't know what the fourth quarter will look like for Boston. Like, do they care about how many points they beat the Bucks by? Do they even care if they win? It's just get out there, get your stats, and get off the court. So they're almost unbettable to me. They're getting very close to that point where you can't bet them for the full game because they've got such a big lead.
But they are covering, Matt. I mean, they're 6-0 last 6 home games, 12-3-1 last 16 games overall as a favorite. So and they're on the verge of covering tonight, albeit after the first half. So as crazy and the lack of motivation as you're right about that, but they're still annihilating teams,
right? No, if it wasn't my team, Scott, if I wasn't a Celtics fan, I'd be betting them like crazy. I'm a sick SOB. I'm a crazy Boston fan, and I can't believe my team is any good. So like I have a hard time with this. I've told Dave this a million times. My biggest fear is that Boston's the best team in the East, and no one's even close because all that means is they're going to lose. It's going to fall from grace, and everyone's going to get to laugh at us and go, ha ha, the Knicks beat us. Like that's my problem with Boston is that they're too good. I want them to look a little bit more human right now because right now there's nobody in the East even close to where the Celtics are.
Jeez, don't let it be the Knicks. Please, we got enough people here that are Knicks fans in our ears that watch the
But you
show.
know what? What's worse, losing to the Knicks or losing to Doc Rivers and the Bucks? Right?
Well,
I
that's
mean,
not happening.
either pick
So
your poison.
that's not happening. I'm not worried about that because that's not happening. So I'm
See,
good
there
there.
you go.
They're not losing to Philly. They're not losing to Milwaukee, and they're not losing to Cleveland. The Knicks might get them. I mean, I'll give it to you. The Knicks might. The Knicks have some moxie. I'll give what the Knicks are doing, and I think they got a coach who might be able to come up with a game plan that could outfool Joe Mazzulla. But it ain't going to be Doc Rivers. That ain't going to be the Bucks. Sorry, that ain't happening.
See, this is what he does. We do this every day. We do this every day. This is good. Go to the college games because there's the game's going to overtime right now. The Grambling game, but the Colorado. Yeah, so I didn't want to mention it. This is Wetzel's on Grambling, and we're trying not to talk about it. Just try to pass it over real quick to get to the Colorado Boise game. Boise State getting points. Okay, Mountain West won. ACC still shooting, trying to get 50 points. Boise tonight, Colorado tonight.
Look, I want to bet Boise. If I had to bet it, I'd bet Boise. I got people that I respect and people that I talk to a lot who tell me that Colorado is going to be able to bomb threes tonight and that the Boise Broncos aren't going to be able to keep up. And Boise State's a team that had a really nice season, but in the Mountain West, they were very inconsistent. And, CSU is much better than Boise State. So everyone's going to get caught with the catnip of thinking that CSU and Boise State are the same, and they're not. Okay, maybe I'm buying in. Maybe I'm falling victim to that same recency bias. I don't know. I like the points, but I've seen numerous people say that lay the points, lay 2.5, lay 3 with Colorado. I don't know. I think Boise State wins. On my bracket, I picked Boise State money line to win this game tonight.
How about the over-under jumping from 140.5 this afternoon to now 143.5? It goes kind of what you were saying here about your buddies.
Yeah, well, it's Colorado 3-point shooting is what the – Yeah, they're shooting threes. I mean, that's what people are saying. The Buffs are going to bomb threes, and that's where the game goes over. I mean, in Dayton, though, we've seen so many of these teams have a tough time with the shooting lanes, if you will, the sight lines. It's a different type of arena. People who haven't been in there before, it has the I don't know how you describe it, a V. It's like my hat. It's a gigantic V, how it is. All the stands are on the sides. There's really not that much in the backdrop behind either basket. So it's a weird feel when you're in there. And oftentimes teams for the first time go in there and they don't shoot very well. So that's why we've seen unders be really consistent in Dayton. I agree with you, Scott. I think the under tonight's a better play than the over.
Did you see our producers play-in pick yesterday? Our producers had Virginia on the money line, fading everybody on Colorado State. Tonight, they're coming with who is that? That's Boise. Put that up, please. That's just to make sure Matty G and everybody knows that we're recognizing them and a great job. That's a great graphic. Boise State money line. Recommend taking the points if you're actually going to look at this game.
Should I feel bad? Should that make me feel better, Dave, or should I feel more concerned that the producers like the same bet that I'm recommending?
They'll probably split the playing games. Like they got it wrong yesterday. They're going to get it right today.
Wrong.
I think you feel okay. The NIT games going on tonight. I mean, we've got a couple games. We talked about it again earlier in the show. You're a college basketball junkie. VCU, Villanova coming up here. San Francisco, Cincinnati. Anything coming up in either one of those games where you kind of go, all right, this got to be a play, or anything you're seeing?
I mean, it's weird because last night I didn't see the board all that great. I got Georgia right. I was wrong on the two other games that I bet in the NIT. I'm getting St. Joe's so far so good here tonight with St. Joseph's. The over looks like it's going to hit for Indiana State in their game, and I can't believe they're not shooting well, yet the over should hit because SMU is scoring at will here on Indiana State, and a lot of people laid that 7.5 with the Sycamores, and I was really nervous about that number. That was a big number, and they may get bounced by SMU here. The only thing I look at, I mean, I know UNLV and Princeton's playing tonight. A lot of people like Princeton to win that game. I'm a little bit concerned just about UNLV not having their full complement of players tonight. They got a couple of guys who aren't going to play tonight, so that could be difficult for them. But I take the points here, looking at VCU. I know Villanova, they play tight games. The Big East didn't look great last night in their games either. And VCU was the team that probably should have won the A-10. And, unfortunately for them, they got bounced. St. Joe's beat them. And so they don't get into the dance. But I would say I would take the points personally if I'm playing this Villanova game or anything in the late night window for the NIT. I take the Rams plus the points.
One of my favorite props for the NCAA tournament, Matt. Total of the seeds to make the Final Four. The over-under is a little bit lower than I thought, but 12.5. We going over or under that?
I've already told Dave, hammer the under. I think this is going to be a chalky year. I don't believe in Cinderellas this year. I don't think we're seeing a George Mason. I don't think we're going to see the upper echelon of college basketball. There are 3 or 4 teams that have separated themselves. The odds would tell you who they are from everybody else. And I just think once they run into a Houston, an Iowa State, a North Carolina, that they're going to lose. And we aren't going to see some crazy upset where a 15 seed beats a 2 or an 11 seed beats a 1. I just don't see that this year. So I would say under. I know that number seems high to me, that it's in the double digits. Dave asked me on BVB what the number should be. I thought 9. And he was like, now it's double digits. I was like, wow, okay, that's high. I would take the under. I think we're going to see a lot of 1s and 2s in the Final Four.
13.5 or 14.5 was my number where we were talking it out on the show. So glad to see I'm close. Still got it a little bit. We talked to Coach Lutz today from Western Kentucky on the show. Wetzel, if you do anything tonight, stay up late. Watch the interview because I want to see what you take away from this interview. All right. Western Kentucky's playing Marquette. And I heard what he said. This has me feeling like one of the best plays of the entire first round after we talked to him today. Tell the people what it is.
They're going to shoot within 12 seconds of the shot clock. That's their entire goal. They're going to get the ball and shoot. Yep. He said our goal is to get the ball and have as many possessions as we possibly can have, and we're going to shoot within 12 seconds of the shot clock, which Marquette does not do that. So it's a make or miss game. If Western Kentucky is hitting threes with like 5, take off 5 seconds on the shot clock and they're burying threes.
Uh-oh. He locked up. He was so excited. He got frozen right there. He locked up. That's okay.
There we go.
If Tyler Kolek doesn't play and Marquette doesn't hit threes and Western Kentucky is banging threes left and right, look out. That might be one of your crazy upsets.
What they were used to do in the regular season? Is this something different?
76 possessions per game, the fastest pace of any team in the tournament. The entire bracket.
More than Alabama and Kentucky even.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he wants to run. He has the Conference USA Player of the Year as his point guard. They're going to get the basketball and they're going to look to push as fast as they can push on Marquette. And if Kolek's not playing, they may not have a point guard on the other side to slow him down. Over. That game, over.
Yeah, I was a little surprised Marquette was the number 2 seed with that injury happening. Maybe they told the committee, oh, yeah, he's okay. Kind of like what Kansas did.
You want a hat? I got to get you a hat.
There you go. I need a hat. Great job, Matt. Talk to you later.
Thanks,
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
It is.
This is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to
Penn
find a
State's
way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But
Right.
if we make them a third,
They get in.
third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to be
rule.
better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart teams.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live. Prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Prime time here, closing out hour number one. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. Thanks again to Matt Peralt, who teams up with Dave every night on Bostonian and the Book at midnight. What is that? 1 o'clock Eastern time after Gabe and Cam.
Yeah, 1 o'clock
there you
Eastern,
go.
10 o'clock Pacific. We're big on the West Coast, apparently. It's prime time in the West
Makes
Coast. so
sense.
it works. We got to have you on. I told you. You're coming on next week.
Yeah.
To refute everything that he just said. You have to come on. Yeah. I mean, you can talk Boston sports. He gets excited when you do, but if you come on and reboot everything he says, you have a regular spot on the show. That's part of the show. Please, you have to come on and say opposite picks of everything that he says. It's great.
Yeah. Is he a pro Boston fan or is he a more realistic? It sounds like he's a pessimistic Boston fan with the Celtics.
Aren't they
anyway.
all? Aren't they
Yeah.
all? Listen. They like the team when they win. They like them more when they lose. Like it's unbelievable. It was so many years of being beaten down by Red Sox. Like they can't enjoy the good times. I tell them all the time, you got the best team in basketball. It's like, oh, I'm scared. Oh, they're gonna lose. Oh, I don't know. I hate it. Relax. The Bruins last year stung them. It stung him last year because he was making Stanley Cup parades way too soon. So he's much more cautious now with the hockey. But the reality is the Red Sox are going to be one of the worst teams in the American League this year. It's going to be a fun season.
Whoa. Maybe not. Maybe not one of the worst.
What'd I say?
They might not win the World Series, but they're not going to be one of the
500.
worst.
They're not going to be 500.
Yeah, they will. It's Boston. Yeah. They'll win about 85 games. They'll challenge for a playoff
give me the
spot.
Under. I want the under of that.
No, they're not that bad. They're not that bad. The pitching staff, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people, believe it or not.
What?
Their hitting sucks. But, yeah, those guys, the Hawks of the world, and they're okay. They're okay.
Did you check
Rambling
the Dallas
by
Stars
7.
game? Did you check the Dallas Stars?
No.
Right,
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in game live, primetime, hour number 2. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan right here on the grid, having some fun. We got college basketball, we got NBA, and our big play, believe it or not, is in the National Hockey League. As the dopey Dallas Stars now trail, Dave, as you threw that little zinger at me to close out the last hour, 1-0 against one of the worst teams, if not the worst team this side of San Jose and Chicago in the NHL, Arizona. At home, no less, 1-0. Great betting opportunity. You get the Stars at home at Pick'em, right? So double down?
The Stars second period games have gone over like 26 of 29. I have a guy that watches the show every day, came in the chat about 3 weeks ago and told us this stat. The Stars games, between PSU Auto and Addison, they've been telling us every time the Stars play, don't forget to bet the second period over. So they're going to score more goals in the second period than they scored in the first, which was none. But the Arizona Coyotes got one. So 1-0. Don't sweat it. Although you're right. Every time you do this with the Black Cloud, like you do have to sweat it. This is one of those things that like a gambler understands. Like you've come to accept that you very rarely have a cigar game Black Cloud play of the night. There has to be a sweat. I was hoping by the time we got to this hour, we were leading 2-0, not trailing 1-0.
Right. You can get the Stars plus, down to 145. It was 180 like 10 seconds ago to win in regulation, plus 145. Okay. I won't do that, but now we got Dallas minus 138, so people hopped on that pick'em a moment ago. That's for darn sure. But, it just – can I have like a 5-0 lead? You know, God forbid the team that I bet on, jumps out to a nice, maybe not 5, but 3-0 lead, God forbid, 2-0
5
even.
Would be good. I would sign for 5. 5 would be good. What's going on in your NIT game or the NCAA play-in game? Because last time we looked, it was going overtime. What?
88-81. How about Grambling? They're on fire. They closed out the regular season on a great run. They won obviously the SWAC championship. So, who do they got in the next round? Is that the Purdue game?
Oh boy,
I think so.
Yeah,
that would be something. Can they beat
They're
Purdue?
Not beating Purdue. Hold on.
Oh, that would be funny.
Oh, listen, come on. What are you getting excited about?
Funny. I'm thinking they can beat Purdue.
That'll break up the whole. That'll mess up that whole Midwest bracket. My goodness gracious. What's the number going to be? Make a number right now. Let's play odds maker. Purdue minus what? 24?
I will say 18, 19 and a half.
Ooh, you're a little light, sir. I think that's a little light.
Yeah.
I haven't looked. Yeah, I don't know.
22?
We'll look here in a second. We got Brad Howell coming on next segment. We'll take a look in the break. I'll reach out to a couple buddies and see if we have a number for that. I mean, as the book, you want to put that up right away because, like you just said, the Grambling talk is hot right now.
Yeah.
Let's get that number up there. Let's put up a number where they're going to take it. I don't want to put up that Purdue number and have them lay it. I don't want I want the first bet on the dog right now, so I know where I got to go. Because after 2 days of talk and
reality,
thoughts and stories and like the Grambling love's maybe going to go away once we get closer to Friday tip off. Celtics, you see that? They're up 78-69, 8:53 left in the third. Rolling. They just win. Goodness, they don't stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sixers going to Phoenix tonight. Did you look at that game? Any reason to take? I mean, can you believe the Suns are laying a gigantic number in that game? I looked at that this morning and I went, come on. Somebody must not. Everybody must not be playing for Phoenix. You want that?
Unless Maxi's not playing for some goofy reason. But that would be the only, but you still can't lay with Phoenix. It's the same thing that failed to cover back-to-back games against Houston, 2 weeks ago when Houston wasn't playing well. So I do like the under, strong unders in that game. But that game is the subject of our alternate universe. How about that? Not bad, not bad. All right, so we got the Philadelphia 76ers out west in Phoenix to take on the Suns. We got the alternate universe, which is, if you don't know, we basically, you can move the lines on FanDuel and a bunch of all the other sites. They all offer adjusted lines. You could offer more. You could offer less. You could go total. You could go straight. I tell you, I think this is, I'm leaning more towards, when we show the numbers here, I'm leaning more towards grabbing Philadelphia getting less than I am Phoenix laying more. And I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game, so I'm kind of siding with the under initially. Let's take a look at some of the numbers there. Right?
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Dave?
I'm thinking exactly what you're thinking. I'm thinking somehow, we got to this graphic right on the mark, and I'm thinking we're talking this out. I like this. I like the Sixers. Let's see. Did Matty G shorten some of those numbers? We should be getting a little bit more for that plus 3.5, but I'll take the plus 205, plus 3.5. Let me see some totals. Let me see some totals, boys, because I got ideas. I got ideas about the totals. All right.
Okay.
Games and under. All right. The Sixers played some really recent games against the Knicks, or the under game. Let's go. Let's shoot for the 214.5 mark. My first number was 215. So plus 196 at 214.5. Wetzel. That's what I'm looking at. How about you?
All right. I got bigger bills. So I'm going to go even lower than 210.5.
Oh,
plus 260.
Oh,
I'm looking for a 105-90 type of game. Right around 205, 206 in that area. So let's go play 260 or 210.5 under. Philadelphia.
You want to lay the point? You want to lay a 1.5? You're gonna go over? You can't do that, can you?
Nah,
think they're gonna win?
No. I'll keep the under. I'll just go with the under.
Okay.
I like the under better than all. Yeah.
All right.
Can't put any money on Philly, and you can't lay even more on Phoenix. They don't cover, so I'm surprised that number's as high as it is. But
so am I. The computer graphic there, the smart projection is the Suns by 7. Likely Suns win, don't cover. Very possible. I'll be surprised if Phoenix wins by double digits. Let's get this game under. This would be a good nightcap for the show.
Yeah. Nice little, like I said, 105, 90, in that range. So, not bad. All right, back to college basketball. When we take a break, we'll come back. Brad Howe, color analyst for West Virginia, will join us next here on The Grid.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the people that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
It is.
This is a guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need
Because
to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But
Right.
if we make them a third,
They get in.
third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart teams.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live. Prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time right here on the grid. Moving along, Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time. NHL, NBA, and, of course, college basketball, which we're focusing on this segment with our next guest, Brad Howe, who's color analyst for West Virginia University. Brad, what's going on, my friend? Scott Wetzel along with Mr. Sharapan, who I know you know. How are you tonight?
I'm well, guys. Thanks for having me. It's great to talk with you again. And what a wonderful time of year, isn't it? We've got basketball on. Tournament starts in full tomorrow. Can't wait. Great time of year.
Yeah, I know you've been immersed in the basketball between the high school work you do, doing all the games and everything else. You're around the game all the time. WVU. I always call you my Big 12 guy. I need to know what B. Howe thinks about the Big 12. So my first question right out of the gate is Houston. Everybody's talking about Houston. And why are they the number one seed? I'm asking the question, how could they not win it? Because everybody kind of got them already to the Final Four in Arizona. B. Howe, give me some Houston information, anything you got.
Yeah, I was really impressed with them this year, guys. Obviously, they stepping up from league to league, going into what is the best basketball league in America, in the Big 12, and they didn't miss a beat, did they? You didn't know they were stepping up a level in competition. They were right there, dominant at times. And listen, West Virginia really struggled this season, so this is a tough comparison when I use Houston against West Virginia. But West Virginia struggled to get the ball up the floor to score points. Houston's defense is led by absolute grown blank men, as I had one coach tell me this year. Grown blank men, Sharapan, they guard you, they're tough, they get after you. The question is just, what do they do when they run into somebody like they did against Iowa State in that Big 12 championship? I think that's what gives you pause. Had they not had that stinker, I'm with you. I think they're just penciled in all the way to the Final Four. But that game gives you pause. There are times when the offense looks rough, when they struggle to score, when they're not hitting shots. They are very good. They have very few weaknesses, but sometimes that offense deserts them. That's kind of been their story in the last few years when they haven't got to the Final Four. Do they have enough? Is Jamal Shed ready to put that team on his back offensively when he has to and carry them all the way in?
Yeah. And I've seen some of their games, Brad, where, they would have leads in the end and I'm sitting on an under and I see the opposing team put a little pressure on Shed and company. And I've not been impressed with Houston's ability to handle a little bit of press. And I'm really surprised more teams don't press nowadays. I mean, I know it's old school, but I am a little concerned about that as well. But I think I'm more inclined to throw out the Iowa State game and say they're getting to the Final Four. It sounds like you're not so certain about that then.
Yeah, that's probably right. I mean, sometimes what I do, I tend to look at these teams, and I've watched them all year. As you mentioned there in the open, I did a bunch of games on the West Virginia Radio Network this year as the analyst. So sometimes that colors you because you spend so much time, at least I do, because I do a nightly show here in West Virginia as well, looking for ways that West Virginia in particular can attack these opposing teams. So sometimes you focus more on the flaws than what is the good. And Scott, you're probably right. You probably throw out that Big 12 title game. That was basically a home game for Iowa State. And we'll get to the Cyclones here in a minute. But that crowd was bonkers in Kansas City. So it was like going into Hilton Coliseum. So yeah, maybe you can throw that out. But sometimes you see in this tournament, you've got to score at times. You've got to be able to have a guy you can give it to, clear out of the way, and go get buckets. I think Houston's defense level, it will be there most of these rounds, but that would be my one question about them. But full disclosure, you can name every team in this bracket, and I'm going to give you 2 or 3 questions. I think this is one of those years when I know I'm not supposed to come on here and say, I don't know, guys, but that's what you say for this tournament is I don't know.
Right.
You know what I don't know? Is Kansas going to win a game? Kansas is laying 7 against Samford. What? I didn't even know Samford had a team, B-How. I don't know what to make of this number. I mean, JY came on yesterday, and he was singing Samford and Son. Bump, 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 bump. He's making a case for all of it. Can you make a case for Samford plus the points against Kansas?
Well, yeah, they got a hot coach right now. So, yeah, Samford is hot. Here's the thing with Kansas, and that was one I have written in my notes here to talk to you guys about. I was courtside for that one when West Virginia upset them in the Coliseum here in West Virginia. And quite frankly, guys, I was a little bit surprised how thin their bench was. And I know I'm not plowing new ground with that, but they were pretty good 1 through 5. I don't think they were their typical Kansas team, but when you got into their bench, that was a vastly different team. I mentioned earlier, West Virginia really struggled this season, but when Kansas went to a bench, there was a time when West Virginia's lineup on the floor I thought was just better than Kansas. So that's a problem for the Jayhawks. Now you take McCullough out of the lineup. I think this team absolutely is in some trouble as it enters the NCAA tournament here. Now, I don't know that Samford can get them. I would expect them to have a lot of trouble with Hunter Dickinson. You get the ball down into him. He is a beast down low. But West Virginia in particular pick and rolled them to death. So they have some deficiencies on defense, and now without their best player, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a danger time there for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. They only have 5 players that average 5 points or more. 5 points. It's amazing. And now you take one away. How about Iowa State? Tough region, right? I mean, that East with UConn and all the others, boy. I don't know what they did to upset the selection committee, but will Iowa State? I know they can, but will Iowa State emerge out of that region?
Yeah, you're right, Scott. That's just a brutal region, isn't it? I don't know that Auburn's not the best team coming out of that region. And you got obviously UConn sitting there coming out of the top. I think Iowa State's really good and impressive too. And here's the biggest advantage they have. We talked earlier about that crowd in Kansas City, how that carried the Cyclones to a Big 12 title. You go back to the regular season, no one was able to go into Hilton Coliseum and get a win. That crowd is a difference maker for Iowa State. That defense that's number 1 in the country per Ken Palm on defensive efficiency feeds off that crowd. It gets into a feeding frenzy when that crowd gets going. And now having the Cyclones sitting over there in Omaha, just 2.5 hours from Ames, that is going to be a massive home court advantage for Iowa State. So the first couple of rounds for them, Drake is no gimme. If Drake can win its first game and get into that second round against Iowa State, that's not a gimme. But Iowa State moving past much more than that, I think that crowd gives them a legitimate shot to do that. I'm just so worried about that region for them, and I really like UConn a lot.
Let's go out west, my neck of the woods, all right? They put Baylor out there as the 3 seed. Everyone we've talked to on this show for about 4 days straight, nobody's mentioned Baylor as the team to come out of the West, B-How. It's either North Carolina or it's Arizona, whose odds are actually lower to come out of the West than the number 1 seed. Baylor in the bottom half as a 3 seed. Can they come out of there from the Big 12?
Yeah, I think they can. I don't think this is one of Baylor's best teams, and I know that's a pretty high bar because they've won a national championship here in the last few years. They can be very good, and they've got some really high-end young talent. They've got a couple guys that may be lottery picks coming out after 1 year. So can they? Yes. They need to get the right whistle, though, guys. They get to the free throw line a bunch, 40% free throw rate, so they gain a lot of their points at the line. They're going to need the right whistle in this tournament to continue to get to the line. They need a team that doesn't defensive rebound well because they get a lot of points off the offensive rebounding side. If they meet up with Clemson there, that's a really good defensive rebounding team. So there's some teams there. There's some trip-ups early that could give them problems. So I like Baylor. I don't know that I love Baylor right now, Dave.
Does the winner from the whole thing come out of the Big 12?
Ooh, I think it's Houston, if any, but I would take the field, guys. I thought the Big 12 was outstanding this year. I thought top to bottom, it was tremendous outside of maybe West Virginia that, again, had some hurdles this year that made it just a bizarre year for the Mountaineers. So you take them out. This was as balanced a league as there was. There was a bunch of great teams, but at the top, I don't know if you have enough to get all the way there. Houston would be the one if they're coming out.
5 seconds. The total number of the seeds in the Final Four is 12.5. You going over or under? I'll bet you say over.
You know what? You know I love overs. I think I would go under. You've always told me I got to go under on things. I got to go under.
Talking.
All right, fine, under. You say under, I say under. Let's go.
All right, I'm the lone over guy here in the boat. So, Brad, good job, man. Appreciate it. Hope we get a chance to do it again.
Thanks, guys.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the review that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
This is
the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But
Right.
if we make them a third,
They get in.
third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats and fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart teams.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live, prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in-game live, primetime. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. Thanks to Brad Howe for joining us from the West Virginia Radio Network, among other little stops that he does. So this is just too easy. I think we've beaten the Black Cloud. Dare I suggest it? How about that hockey score? Dallas Stars down 1-0, playing like garbage. And what happens? The Stars respond, Dave. Now leading not 2-1, 3-1. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
3 goals in the second period. I'm telling you, I mean, when you pay attention, you got guys that, reach out to you. Again, tag SportsGrid. If you're watching the show, get the app. You can see it here. I mean, all these other things. Let's go. I mean, this is, we put it out there we welcomed people back from that short break and said, it's time to bet the Stars and bet the second period over. I love when a plan comes together, Wetzel. The S&W Corporation has had a nice little run. It's been a fun fall. Looking forward to spring. What did you come up with for this NCAA tourney? You with a pencil and some paper and a little bit of time at home when the wife leaves you alone on the train rides to and from. I see you've done something. You've come up with some stuff.
Yeah. I love this. I love betting this stuff more than the games. I really do, because they always put out a whole bunch of props, and they just aren't as sharp. They got it down with the games. No two ways about it.
Yes.
Over, under, straight play, absolutely. But when you start fooling around with all these goofy props, like in the Super Bowl and stuff, we had a phenomenal Super Bowl prop day. There's just too much for them to really, really delve into it. So, and it's just different also. I think I like it. So, got the 6 different NCAA props that kind of stood out to me that I like. Let's throw them out there for you, Dave. First one, total of seeds to make the Final Four. The over-under is 12.5. You seem to like the under. Did you say that with Brad?
I was trying to bait Brad into saying that he liked the over. I knew he liked the over because I'm leaning over too. I told you, I had the number 13.5 or 14.5. So if my number's any good, I'm supposed to play the over. It's going to fall 12, 13, 14. It's right around that number. So I'm leaning over.
Okay. How about this one? Highest points scored by a game, 179.5. Now, I had 2 games penciled. I had the Kentucky game and I had the Alabama game as our most likely choices. But your boy Matt told us about this angle with Marquette and Western Kentucky. Now we got 3 games that could get to 180 points. A lot of points, but, I think I'm going over on that one.
Well, all right, so that's the round of 64 only. Okay.
First round only, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because we used to put that number up for the whole tournament, and it was much higher. So this is a nice little wrinkle. You got to read all of the details of the bets because I was prepared when I saw that graphic to say, "Oh, this is an easy over. There's going to be a game that finishes in the 180s." But at least half the games, will not even come close to this number in a round of 64. Because you got some blowouts. They won't get there. You need dance partners. You need dance partners to get to 179. I think I'm leaning under.
Alabama? Kentucky? Well, our boys at West Virginia there, or Western Kentucky?
What's the Bama
the run and gun?
What's
we have
Bama
overtime? Number? We would need what's the Bama number? What's the highest total that they're giving us
I'll
right now?
See it right now. Bama is 172. Yeah, 172. We're already close. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's do it, right?
right.
We're paying a 7-point premium. Now, we're paying a 7-point premium, but we're getting, 31 other games.
Yeah, but
Or
we're
do we
not
just
really
bet
getting
over
31 other
Tennessee?
games.
Or,
We're only
over
getting a
Alabama?
couple other games because
Right?
there's
Is it
not
worth?
another game line on. I just went through Friday's games. There's not a game line higher than 150. I don't know how good of a bet this is over.
Again, overtime.
We're talking this one through. Long Beach State at Arizona. There's 163.
There you go.
Scott, I don't know. Oakland and Kentucky's 163.5. We're essentially talking about 3 games, Wetzel. I'm sticking to my original plan. I like under.
Are you going under? All right, I'm going to go
We'll
over.
bet the individual game. Bet the Bama game over. That's all.
Yeah. How about this one? Margin of victory. Biggest margin of victory in the first round, obviously. 37.5. Is someone going to win by 38 points? See, here's the key with all this. You said it there, Dave. It's only the first round. So these guys know that they got to play again in 2 days. So why are we going to put 100 points on the board and poop our kids out when we got to play again? Let's get all the scrubs to play. Same thing, we're up 25-30. We got to play in 2 days. Why risk injuries? So that's one under I'm going to play, 37.5.
I think that's an under. Yeah, you can sense a theme here with me. I always shade to the under. My career lifetime in the book, I'm usually shading to the under. I like the under on that one.
All right. Highest points scored by one team. Kind of like that. Instead of for the whole game, or instead of the game, it's one team. 97.5 points.
Ooh.
Basically, someone scored 100 points in the first round? I don't think so.
You don't think so? This would be the one I'm leaning over. Yeah.
It's a lot of
Bama,
points.
Maybe. Kentucky, maybe. They got blowout situations
But
written all over.
again, they're playing in 2 days. Do they want to keep their kids out there running and gunning?
The backups
showing
get
the next
out there
team.
and start scoring. Yeah, the backups get out there and score. That's one of those ones where you empty the bench, let the kids play. Let's get 100. Let's win over the crowd. Let's
right.
Like Prossimo said to Maximus, win the crowd. These teams are trying to win the crowd. I like that over. I think there's a couple of potential shots. We could get that.
This one I really like. And I had to do maybe not. The number of upsets seed-wise. So how many higher seeds, worse seeds, are going to beat the lower seeds? Under is 8.5.
Oh, boy.
And I automatically said over, right? But then when you start to think about it, all right, so 8-9 is basically pick 'em. 7-10, basically pick 'em. 6-11, basically pick 'em. If you go, if you split those, you're still, you still need 2 more. Are you going to get basically 2 more upsets from 5-12 on?
Doesn't a 12 beat a 5 every year? I mean, everybody likes to bet that now. So you get an upset there.
There's one. Actually, you need 3 more. You need 3 more.
Right? And 11's favored. New Mexico's favored in their game. They're favored. Yeah. Yeah, because they messed up some of these seeds. Boy, that's a good number. This is a hard one for me because for years now, being in the book, I didn't look at the seeds. I mean, again, we had Coach Lutz on today, and he said it to us. Ali Farouk Manouche said it to us yesterday. The seeds don't matter. Like they tell the kids, it don't matter what seeds you are. We're going to win. So I stopped looking at the seeds a long time ago and just try to look at the betting numbers. You like this under? I think this is an under. You do?
I think I'm going over.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, the 3 matchups are even, so that's 12 games. If you can go 50-50, there's 6 wins. So you need 3 more. You get maybe 1 out of the 5-12. And there's always 1 or 2, 14 threes that we just don't count. 13, I actually like that a lot, 14, the over 8.5.
Okay. All right.
Here might be the best
ask
one.
Matty G what he likes about that one. I don't know.
Yeah. Here might be the best one. And I think you're going to be opposite me on this, but Number of number one seeds to reach the Final Four. Over-under is 1.5, and it's plus 135 on the site that I saw it at.
To the over?
I'm thinking UConn and Houston. There you go. There's my 2. And I got Purdue and North Carolina as house money.
Where's the plus 135? To the over or to the under?
Over. To the over.
Yeah, I'm a book guy. I like the under. I think 1.
Really?
Connecticut. Yeah, maybe. Well,
So you think someone's going to beat Houston?
You might get 2. You might get 2. I don't think you get 3. But
right. We only need 2.
It just 2 wins.
North Carolina's going to lose. I don't think North Carolina's going to get there. And we all know Purdue's not going to get there. But who's beating UConn and Houston?
I think somebody.
And even Purdue. Purdue's got 2 games at home, right there in Indianapolis. That's a crime. But so they got to survive that weekend.
Well, they do.
You want to give me plus 135 too?
Listen, it's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet. You have action on every one of their games all the way through.
Yeah.
I think they all get through to Sweet 16. So you have action now over a course of a week. It's fun. It's a good bet.
Hedge.
These
they get to the
bets
Elite
are
Eight,
so
you can
much
hedge.
fun. Right?
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I love it.
Yeah.
See, that's good. You're right about the numbers for the games. This gives you action on the games without having to beat that spread and sweating those buckets at the end, free throws, turnovers. Just give me the win. Give me the win.
Yeah. Goofy teams down 15 with 30 seconds left, telling their kids to foul. You know, really? You know, so the game goes over, or they lose by 20 when you were getting 16. You know, yeah. Who needs that aggravation?
Who needs that? You don't know.
Cam Stewart coming up next here on the Grid.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the Purdue that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
This is
the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
Third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that lightning in a bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats and fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
InGame Live All Access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart teams.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
InGame Live, PrimeTime.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
InGame Live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, primetime right here on the grid, 40 past the hour. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, as we turn our attention to a smorgasbord with our good buddy Cam Stewart. We got some golf, we got some NHL, we got some college basketball. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good, Scott. I was just telling Dave, just waiting for the Leafs to find a way to blow a 2-goal lead, which they do almost every single night. But I actually went really hard on them tonight after pathetic performance against the Flyers, where they were down, like, what was it, like 4-0? They come back and then almost come back to win. Like, I'm getting sick and tired of this, tight wire act. Why don't you just beat a team and beat a team and stop screwing around all the time and winning a game? You know what I mean? There's nothing more frustrating than a team with talent that just doesn't utilize their talent, but playing pretty good tonight. Dave and I talked about, we don't think the Capitals are as good as people think they are, even though Ovi's having a good year. But hey, it's NCAA tournament time. We'll put hockey on the back burner right now. It's been a great start to the night. We got one game left. Dave, I don't know how you feel about Los Angeles. I know they beat Chicago, but I don't like laying juice with this team at home. For me, it's Minnesota or nothing. I take a shot with the Wild at plus 140. I don't really love the game, to be honest with you, but that's something I would look at. And I actually think that total might be a little bit light. They're starting to open up a little bit. So that's what I would like in the late action. I'd probably look over 5.5 in that game. And it's you don't even have to lay any juice on the 5.5. I know everyone thinks the Kings play unders, but Minnesota, they can play different styles. They can clamp down or score goals. So I think we can get to 6 tonight. Lean to the dog, but I don't love that game. I was all over the Leafs 100%. And the over in this game. And right now it's at 6. So if I can get one more goal, we're good. NCAA basketball, I'm on Colorado in the second game. So right now it's basically tied. I don't know. I know a lot of people. I had an argument with a guy today. He's like a big Boise State backer. I'm like, it's you just remember teams that screwed you. Like after last night's performance, I don't think I'll ever bet the Virginia Cavaliers again. I don't know how they're. I don't know what's going to happen, Scott, for the next 10 years of recruiting. But if I had a kid and he wanted to go to Virginia, I'd say any school but. I see the Virginia letter, throw it in the garbage, rip it up. I go, but it's a great institution, Dad. I don't care. We'll find somewhere else to go. That's where we're going. We're never going to go to Virginia, and I never want to see their basketball team play again. Disgusting. Honestly, that took years. That 2.5 hours took like 20 years off my life. What a gross performance. That was not actually one of the worst performances of all time. Disgusting.
I got text. I said it. People were texting me, are you watching this game? I'm like, no, I'm watching the hockey. Like, there's some good things going on in the hockey. Yeah. You're right, though. We'll shelf that. We need one more goal. We got over into Toronto and the Caps.
Me too. Me too.
We're sitting on 6. That's fine. I got over 6. So we just went over some stuff with. We talked to Peralta earlier. We talked to Brad Howe, who's a Big 12 guy, and we kind of looked at the different regions and how the Big 12 teams are going to fare. I heard you say Baylor in the break.
I love Baylor.
There's nobody talking about Baylor, Cam, in that West region. Do you like the Baylor Bears at all?
Big time. I look at that region and go, okay, well, there's North Carolina. I know they have probably the most talent, but they can be flaky. Alabama can score, but they can't stop anybody. So what's the deal? Arizona plus 230, you nuts? Even if they win, Dave, it's one of those things, if they win, Scott, I don't care. Because I watched them lose to Washington State twice this year. I'm like, that's the whole thing. I don't know how they're going to play in these neutral site games, but I'll tell you one thing. They're not a great road team. They don't play really good away from their home. Baylor has been playing tough games against Houston. They went to overtime. I'm getting these guys at 6-1 on my book. And Arizona's barely over 2-1. So out of principle, I almost think I'm playing Baylor. Gabe and I talked about it before. If you like North Carolina, fine. But I just think that price for Arizona is really bad. I think they should be at least, what do you think, 3-1? Like 230? That's, sorry, man. That's just, that's not. 650 on for Baylor now. It's even better on one of. I got to check out this book because on mine I bet them at 600 at plus 600 flat. So I think they're dangerous, Dave. I really do. I think they're that conference, the tight games they've been in. I know they ended the season poorly, but well coached. They're not afraid to be in a close game. Hey, man, they battled Houston. I got nothing wrong with Baylor at 6-1. This is also a team that's been to the Final Four before. They've been deep in tournaments. They have the talent. So I'm on Baylor. I know some people could disagree, but I think Auburn is another dangerous team. I don't know what I'm thinking about because everyone's on UConn. Like, if UConn doesn't win, like, who else is going to cut? Like, Dave, I'm in a pool. I don't know one person. It was Houston and UConn. Nobody else took anybody else, like, to win. So I'm like, what team can, like, rock the boat? Scott, you're going to love this with your East Coast bias like me. And before you get Morency on you guys and your East Coast bias, Dave knows I love the Pac-12. But I have Marquette meeting UConn in one of my brackets.
Wow.
I have Marquette going to the Final Four. So
wow.
Take it for what it's worth. And Washington just scored. We got our wrong team. Here we go. Here come the Leafs, ready to collapse. Yeah, we got our over, though, guys. 7.
Okay.
We're there.
That's good.
Yeah,
I got Toronto in the game. 6-1
Me
against
too.
the Capitals.
I have the minus
How about
1.5
this game?
and money line, Scott. I went deep on this game. This is disgusting.
Yeah. They're 6-1 against the Capitals.
I know.
Last 7.
That's why I bet them hard.
How about this one for NCAA? Dave and I were talking. Total number of seeded upsets in the first round. So a worse seed beating a higher seed. Over under in Vegas, 8.5. I'm thinking over. Dave kind of likes the under.
Over. I like the over too. Wow, these are really interesting props. Highest scoring game of round 64. Over. What about that Alabama Charleston game? First team to 100. I think I'd go maybe over there, but it seems almost obvious. Highest win margin, round of 64. Well, this is like
Look
golf
at that.
betting. I
Is
like
there
this
any
stuff.
blowouts in round one? It's 37.5. I think that's an over, right? Somebody's laying it on somebody.
You know what? So one of these teams isn't going to be nice. They're going to win a game like 105 to like 30 to 42 or something. It's going to be one of those old school beatdowns. So I like the over there. Highest team total, 97.5. That's rich. You need a real clean ride. I'm sorry.
Alabama?
Alabama
Kentucky,
could get to
maybe?
100. They could guess. No, it's not. Good call. I was thinking Kentucky and Alabama have a great chance, but 98 points, buddy? That's a lot of baskets. I'm going to lay off that
Overtime.
one. Yeah.
All right. No overtime.
Well played, Wetzel.
How about the total
Overtime.
number of number one seeds to reach the Final Four? 1.5 plus 135 on that one.
I like
if you go
2.
over.
Oh, I like 2 of them. 2 1 seeds to get there.
Okay.
What do you
There you
guys
go.
think? You like 2?
I think over.
Wetzel
too.
said over.
I like 2.
I said under. I said
What do you like?
number 1 seed gets there. I said
So who
one.
do you got, Dave? So tell me. I need to hear this, Dave. You got to talk to me.
Well,
Leafs just scored.
I think either UConn or North Carolina. Those are the two. I'd like those two. I don't think Purdue's getting to the Final Four, and I don't think Houston's getting to the Final Four. I like Marquette out of that bracket with Houston.
Okay.
I don't think it's Kentucky. It's the 3. I think Iowa State has a shot.
I love Iowa
If it's
State, Dave.
1-2.
They're my team.
I love the way they play defense, Cam.
The problem
I love
is,
the way they play defense.
can they score? That's all. That's the whole thing. If Iowa State had consistent scoring, I'd take them to win the national championship. You saw they played great against Houston in the Big 12 championship game. They're a good team. I'm telling you, Auburn, though, man, there's something about that team. I don't know what it is. It's like I'm starting to think I'm buying into the Auburn Tigers. UConn, they're just too damn good. Plus 105. Man, Scott, what's going to happen in the next couple of days when we're sitting there? This is the best thing about March Madness. All these guys I go to put in my pool sheets at the local watering hole, and these guys, I got the winners, I got whatever. These guys don't even like work at a sports betting station. I'm like, okay. It's almost like owning Mahoney. Talk to me in 48 hours, and we'll see how your brackets are doing. I have no confidence going into this thing, and that's the best way to play it. The minute you think you know something, you know nothing. This tournament, Carver, I was doing golf picks with him today. He has Grand Canyon going to the Final Four. I'm like, mercy.
Oh, come on.
No. I'm going to say this, though. I think the winner of that game wins, too. I like St. Mary's to beat Grand Canyon, and I like them to go a little bit farther. I think St. Mary's is going deep. But I told Carver, I'm like, Grand Canyon. Anyway, we stuck to the Valspar.
He's a big Grand Canyon guy. He's a big Lopes guy. Before we get to the golf, did you stay up and watch any of the baseball? Wetzel's on a mission to bet the Dodgers every day and lay a run and a half. I know, it's
what?
late.
Yeah,
it's an early morning start for you, but is it Dodgers run line again in the middle of the morning?
Dave, I can't lie. I did not watch the game last night, but you know what I did? When I rolled over in bed and took my 13th urination of the night with diabetes, I checked the scores, and wow, the Dodgers and the under came in. My parlay hit at plus 168, and I rolled over. And I'll tell you one thing, even with my sleep machine, I slept a little better. And I'm going back again. That's the way we're going to roll. Wetzel, I know the dark cloud has been a nemesis of you in a long time, but this Dodger team, they're always going to find a way. That's the thing. Dave, I love to be that guy. You know, when everyone's betting on one guy, the boxer, I like to go on the big loser tomato can. You know who I am. I'm the dumpster guy. I'm the El Cortez. I'm a dollar dog and beer guy. But I don't also like just giving money away and losing. Like, I don't want to get in front of this team this year. I learned in the first exhibition game. I'm like, I'll take the Padres. 8-0 Dodgers first inning. Click. I'm done. No more. It's like one inning. It was like a sign from Gambler. He goes, Cam, don't do this year. Don't try to be smarter than everybody. No, you're dumb. Just take the damn Dodgers on the run line. You know what? You do Dodger parlays. Hell, me and Carver are talking with Scotty Scheffler parlays with UConn and stuff like that for the Masters. We're working on so many recipes and beautiful dishes, Dave. That's the thing you got to do in today's world. You got to jack up prices. But let's go to the Valspar. By the way, my dad plays the pipes. They have a pipe band and whatever. One of my best friends' father's down there. He's a professional bagpiper, and this tournament is off the chain. People don't know about the Valspar. It's literally one of the hardest courses in the history of golf. No one talks about it because it's not a major. It should be. It's called the Snake Pit, 7,100 yards, Copperhead, 7 holes of water, 76 bunkers. It is an absolute machine. Like this course, oh man, it's great. I love the Florida swing, but let's get into the picks because I don't think I have too much longer. I'd like to thank Frank Font and Gary Graphic again. Fantastic job. Brian Harmon, the little lefty that could. Carver had him at 150-1 last week, and he lost by 1 shot. I cried for Carver last week when I told my girlfriend, I'm going to take Brian Harmon this week at 22-1. Canadian content, they call me the Prime Minister. Adam Hadwin always plays well in Florida at 45. Sepp Straka, a Georgia Bulldog. Don't let the Austrian flag fool you. Great track record at this type of course. Eric Cole, Scott, you know I have an addiction. See, like the Dodgers? This is the last time, Cole. This is it. This is the last tournament in Florida. You've been pretty good to me early, not great late. You get 1 shot at 50-1, and if you don't finish in the top 20, we're done. Our relationship's over, and I'll talk to you next year. Adam, don't shank it in the water at 75. And Sam, Riders on the Storm at 110-1, finished very strong last week at the Players. I'm going to take him. Others that I like as bombs, Taylor Montgomery, 100-1. I think Brady Cannon and Carver like him too. Watch out for Taylor Montgomery. Hot player. Good odds.
Were you on Scheffler for the comeback?
I was, Dave, because you know what? I actually made a corporate decision with my girlfriend. She goes, listen, we got to hedge the money. I did the math with her. I go, we can got 2 guys, not 3. And she goes, you're not going to take Xander Schauffele. He always screws up. I go, yes, you were listening to me. Give me Harmon and give me Schauffele. Give me Scheffler. Schauffele, you're out the door. So I ended up, Dave, I would have won 10 dimes if my guy won at 50-1, but I chopped it up. We did okay. But I'm not going to say, like,
that's good.
You know how it goes, though, Dave. Sometimes I'm hot in hockey. I had the Sabres the other night. Like, hockey's actually hopefully starting to turn around because we had a nice swept the board with the Lightning last night. So maybe things are turning. But, kids, you got to hedge your golf bets. You don't want to sit there with nothing. If Schauffele would have won, Dave, you and Cardano would have been calling me. I'd be living in a dumpster because I had a lot. I had to hedge out of that stuff. And I'm like, if this guy wins, I'm doomed. Love you guys. Yeah. I like to sleep in a bed. Preferably with my woman.
Cam Stewart, Gabe Morency, top of the hour. Thanks, Cam.
Have a good one, guys.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance.
That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like
This
is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need
Because
to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But
Right.
if we make them a third,
They get in.
third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I bought into Tennessee with their veteran team. I really did. But that's, out the window. That ship has sailed today.
A team that wins no games in their conference tournament has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can put Tennessee in that boat. You can put Duke in that boat from last night. You can put Creighton in that boat from last night. They all lost their first conference tournament game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats and fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live. Prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Primetime. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, wrapping things up with our final plays for the night. Thanks again to Cam Stewart for joining us last segment. He'll take over with Gabe Morency, top of the hours. They always do for the next 3 hours. So, college basketball, Dave, I will tell you, Colorado State and Boise State, I don't know, but maybe Virginia took over their uniforms because it's 13-12 with less than 8 minutes left to go in the first half. The over-under, which for whatever reason shot up to 143.5. I like the under at 140.5. Now it's down to 125.5. Neither one, I don't have the game on here, but neither one of these two teams seem to be too much scoring. So I still like the under. I might even go under 125.5, believe it or not. But I do like that. Our Stars leading 3-1. Not too bad as they play the third period. So looking pretty good there. I don't want to jinx that, but so far so good. Villanova down 1 at the half against VCU. And Wake and App State, that went over as they still play with Wake leading by 9. Did like the over on that one. So
yeah, somehow Indiana State covered. You talked about that.
Indiana State down 9 at the half, covered. Laying 7.5.
Covered the game.
How about that?
We talked about that at halftime. Said it was probably time to play them, but they covered the original number. What a second half by them. I got the LA stuff on. The Kings are playing Minnesota tonight. I like the dog, and I like the game under. I think we get a not quite a Virginia type game, but not a lot of goals. Might be a 3-2. Might have to sweat it like your Black Cloud. I'm worried that if Arizona gets the next goal, you're going to be looking at that phone on the train ride home. Does your neck ever hurt from looking down at the phone? I'm starting to get this pain now. March Madness. I'm checking scores nonstop. It never ends.
Yeah. It's like the ticker. Remember the old ticker days where you had to, hold on to the ticker to see the score scroll across the thing.
Kids don't even know what you're talking about. You keep using these terms.
Idea.
They have no idea.
I know.
Ticker. Not your heart.
What's a ticker? Ticker tape parade?
I'll see you in a couple
days.
days.
Good luck with the bets, folks. Talk to you. Yep. See you on Saturday.